Hello, hello, and welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. We're just removing Facebook here. There we go. Remove. Okay. All right, here we go. Here we go, starting again. Hello, welcome to Oracle Hour. My name is Sabrina Rising. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher, and it's my honor to be here with you and channel spirit on your behalf. I love this broadcast every Sunday night at 5 p.m. Pacific. I can see we already have members joining us in the chat, saying hello to me, to each other, which is beautiful. Always makes me happy to see that. For those of you that are new here, as a psychic medium and channeling spirit on your behalf, my goal is to serve you, to connect you with your higher self, to bring messages that your spirit team, your guides, your loved ones, your higher self wants you to have at this point in time, in this moment, in the current evolution of yourself, in this 3D experience that we're all in together. So if you're here tonight, you didn't get here by accident. We're all drawn here. Usually there's a theme. Tonight we're going to talk about parallel selves and timeline shifts and choice points and all of this very fun, interesting, metaphysical stuff, which really isn't so complicated. I'm going to distill it down for you so you understand what all these concepts are and how they apply to your current circumstances. So, we come here for guidance week after week. We ask questions about the future, about the past, how to grapple with something that you're struggling with, how to bring the unseen into the scene, which is my role as the oracle. My passion, my purpose, my mission is to connect you with your higher self and to demonstrate what it's like to live as the oracle, to live as a person who has access to universal intelligence. It is in universal intelligence that the answers that you seek live in, and everything that's ever happened, everything that will happen, everything that's happening exists in universal intelligence, and you can access that. And of course, I demonstrate that week after week on the show, and of course in my readings that I do, my one-to-one readings. If you've never had a reading with me, or if you want to go deeper, for example, in whatever situation you might be grappling with, Liriel, my trusted intuitive support specialist, is here tonight. She's back from vacation, which I'm so excited about. She'll put the link up here for you in a moment if you want to come and book a one-to-one session and have an oracle transmission. So during the oracle transmission, I read your energy, I read your past, and we alchemize what happened to you in the past so that we can shift the direction of your future. It's so important to bring information from the unseen into the seen, because otherwise we don't know what's blocking us. We don't know what's stopping us. We don't know what's holding us back from moving forward. We know that we don't feel well. We know that we don't have access to our power in certain situations. We know that at some point, at some times, perhaps we might feel unmotivated, or we might feel like, there's something off, but we can't put our finger on it. This is the beauty of psychic work, is that we're able to understand what's happening in the unseen so that we can deal with it right here, right now, on a conscious level, and transform it for good. And of course, this is my wish for you and for all beings everywhere. And this is my role as the oracle. I care less about predicting what's going to happen for you, and I'll tell you why. I know that everybody's invested in future outcomes, and because we want what we want because of the way we think it's going to make us feel. This is human nature. Once I have this, I'll feel that way, because your mind has an idea of some foreseeable outcome and what that might feel like, because perhaps you're longing for it, or perhaps it's something that you feel has been missing in your life, and you think that's the thing that's going to fulfill you. And I can tell you, especially having worked with so many people over the years that have had tremendous success, that the thing that you think is going to fill the void never actually does. The only thing that fills the void for us is a relationship with spirit that allows us to cultivate inner peace, deep self-acceptance, radical self-love, unconditional love for ourselves and for each other, radical personal responsibility, being intentional with our thoughts, our feelings, our behaviors, and finding the thing that brings us the most joy and dedicating ourselves to that. This is the magic. This is it. It's not about some big unfulfilled thing that you're seeking. It's really about you finding fulfillment with yourself as you are. And when we remove the resistance to loving ourselves and accepting ourselves radically, as we're talking about tonight, we find that love is all that's left, right? We remove all the barriers within us. This is a Rumi quote that I'm paraphrasing, but when we remove all these barriers that we've built up within ourselves, we actually have access to the love that we are. And that is the point of fulfillment. And this is what everybody wants. It's what everybody is looking for, whether regardless of the strategy that you've implemented in your life, whether you're building a successful business or, trying to get a business off the ground or trying to attract a partner or a mate or dealing with health issues or whatever your struggle is. The core of that is finding inner peace, finding deep fulfillment and satisfaction with self. And we can only do that when we look inwards. And so oftentimes when we look inwards, we don't know where to look or we don't have all the answers. And that's where the oracle comes in. We're able to access information from universal intelligence to give you the pieces that you need to move forward. For so many of us, we need to hear from loved ones so that we can get complete. We can let go of our resentments. We can move into a state of forgiveness. Perhaps we need to know our guides or hear from our guides, or there's a message or a symbol or a sign that we haven't been paying attention to that's trying to come forward, that's trying to get your attention. I firmly believe from my own direct experience that we have a fulfilled version of ourselves. We're talking about timelines tonight, that's living in an alternate reality, not as a separate life, but as an available option, an available identity for every single one of us if we choose it. And that fulfilled version of you is communicating with you. It's not separate from you. It's all source consciousness. So it's trying to communicate to you the thing that you are longing for, the thing that you are searching for, is trying to guide you in that direction. It's just a matter of developing the sensitivity and trust to listen to it and follow that guidance. This is the work that we do here. Okay. So it's really about your own personal fulfillment and satisfaction and inner peace. And of course, this is what I'm committed to. Okay. So we're talking about timelines tonight. Just a couple of housekeeping things. If you're new here, please put your question in the chat. I handle questions on a first come, first serve basis. It's my honor to do so. If you are a paying member, which is you joined the YouTube channel and you're in our Inner Oracle community, if you're a paying member, you get priority access in the chat. We go a little bit deeper in the readings, and you also get access to our exclusive Facebook group where I go live every Tuesday for closer proximity. I offer coaching and personalized guidance. And of course, we have Lyriel in the group that does intuitive tarot on Fridays as well. So it's a beautiful community of like-minded people, which we desperately need at this point in our world, to have people that we can feel safe with and seen and heal with. And that's the link to join the channel. If you want to be part of the Inner Oracle community membership, it's less about ambiance and it's more about the results that we're getting as we see people take personal responsibility for their lives and develop their intuition and work through their stuff and, learn to regulate their nervous system and share openly and be vulnerable. Okay, with each other. And this is so important for anyone on a personal development journey, especially if you're developing your intuition for channeling work and psychic work. And there's lots of good stuff there. It also gives you access to my spiritual library of content that's on my YouTube channel, members only content, courses I've taught over the years. So something to consider while you stay for the whole broadcast. I always say stay for the whole broadcast because I love to have you here with me. And also because the messages that come through are for all of us. So they're for myself, they're for anybody who's listening, anybody who's paying attention. Even if you're just coming through for the first time, just pay attention to the readings. Listen for yourself, your story, your struggle. You may not relate to the circumstances, but we all can relate to the felt experience of what it's like to move through some layer of fear, which is really the only thing that's ever blocking us in life. Can I, should I, am I going to be okay? Is this going to work out? Will I survive? Will I be successful? Will I find love? It's always a fear-based question because this is what we're grappling with. Until you have your own connection with spirit, fear is really the only option. It's always about managing the things that we're afraid of, learning to mitigate that fear, learning to choose. And we're talking about choice points tonight, learning to choose love. When I say love, I mean higher consciousness. I mean infinite possibility, trusting in spirit, trusting in the divine, in the unknown, as long as we show up in integrity. Okay. And that means you're taking care of your body, your mind, you're mindful of your thoughts, your language, you're taking right actions. Right actions is not a moral value judgment. It just means actions that are aligned with love, with intentionality, that are consistent with the version of you that you say you want to be. As long as we're showing up in integrity, then the rest is a matter of surrender, and which is such an important part. This is where the sort of the masculine and the feminine meet in terms of inner work. So let's talk about timelines. So the timeline of your life is not linear, right? And so we've all had many incarnations, and I won't get into the karmic implications tonight. We can talk about that some other time. We've all had many incarnations, and in this current one, there is a version of you that you are experiencing now in real time in 3D. This is who I am. This is the role I'm playing. This is what I call myself. This is how I show up. These are my circumstances. This is the reality that I'm living. And the reality that you're living is based on a series of choices that you made and beliefs that you're holding, long-term values that live in the subconscious mind that we don't have access to. Again, giving us access to the unseen is my specialty. So hang on. And then there is, of course, all the conscious choices that you're making, which you're already aware of because you're choosing it every day. And you may not there's so many conscious choices you're making that you actually may not be aware of. You might be on autopilot, because you've made them for so long and you don't realize how it's impacting your circumstances. So when the conditioned self, which is, happens in early childhood, it comes to this reality, it says, okay, I want to shift my reality. I want to live on a different timeline. What that means is I want to embody a different version of myself. I want to, when we talk about manifestation work, for example, and this is always a caution I give people, it's always about what's happening in the future. I want this next. I want this now. I want more of this, please. And timeline shifting is more about embodying a new identity. Who am I? Who am I? Who do I want to be? How do I want to feel? What different choices can I start making in order to shift, in order to move into this new version of myself? So I use my power of choice, which we all have. And, this is the only power we actually have, is the power to choose, right? The power to choose how we're going to think, how we're going to feel, where we're going to put our energy, where we're going to put our attention, same thing, what actions we're going to take, who we're going to interact with, the content we're going to consume, what we're going to eat, how we're going to treat our bodies. This is the choices we're making all day, every day. And every single choice you make is going to affect the circumstances of your life. Okay. And so pay attention to what you're saying yes to, pay attention to what you're saying no to. Notice if the things you're saying no to are actually blocking what you really want, the identity you want to embody. Notice how, if it's different, it's a very basic one to notice, is if it's difficult for you to accept a compliment, to receive a compliment. Okay. So, we want to receive love. We want love. We want to receive support. We want to receive abundance. We want to receive, but when someone offers you something, no, I can't handle that. I can't sit with that. I can't be with the intensity of that. I deflect. And the degree of deflection is in direct measure of your own relationship to self-love, to your own experience of how worthy you feel of love, of your own love. If you don't feel worthy of your own love, it's going to be very difficult for you to receive someone else's, right? So these are little micro ways in which we can start to examine the choices that we make on a moment-to-moment basis that either bring us closer to the version of ourselves we want to embody, hence the timeline shift, or further away from it. And for so many of us, it's a dance we're in, right? We're sort of in conflict with ourselves and what we say that we want. I say that I want this, but I can't bring myself to do X, Y, Z. And then I say I want to feel that, but then I say I do, all these other things that are in direct contradiction to that. So here's the thing. The answer to all of your questions, the solution to all of your problems, rather, doesn't live in an external modality or some external information or some external source of validation either. The solution lives within your own inner coherence, your ability to bring yourself into alignment with your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors. I talk about this all the time because that's all there is. That's all there is just learning how to live consistently with the version of yourself that you say you want to embody, whether that's the version of yourself that's deeply, madly in love, or the version of yourself that's, wealthy, or the version of yourself that's helping others or having a significant impact in people's lives, or, rescuing animals, whatever version of yourself you want to embody. We start to live and think and act and be and make choices. And sometimes those choices are uncomfortable. Sometimes they go against what you've been choosing. And this is where all the resistance is. The whole point of personal development work is to look and see, what have I been choosing? How have I been choosing against myself? right? How have I been in conflict with what I say that I want? And whether it's conscious or unconscious, of course, the large part is unconscious, which is why it's so difficult to have access to the parts of us that are blocking, that feel blocked. And that's why, the coaching industry is as big as it is. And there's an infinite number of mentors and modalities that we can jump into, as long as the modality has integrity and it's there to not, that doesn't require your submission, but actually creates resonance for you, then lean into the thing that you feel most drawn to, because that's what your higher self is. We talked about higher self bringing us messages and guidance, is directing you towards this particular body of work for this current phase of your evolution, because there's something for you here, right? And so there's no one mentor that has all the answers, but there are people that we're drawn to at different stages of our personal development work that can offer golden nuggets of breakthroughs and information that can facilitate breakthroughs during the course of your personal development journey. Okay, so make no mistake, we're all here to awaken. Every single one of us is here to awaken and to bring forward the most fulfilled potential of ourselves. And this is what's going to create inner peace and inner fulfillment. And this is what everybody's looking for, whether you're looking for it in relationships, in financial gain, or health, mastering, whatever it is you're mastering. The circumstances that you're grappling with are simply mirroring back to you the lesson that you need to learn on how do I master the relationship with myself. Okay. And this is what we mean by timeline shifts. I can choose a new identity and be in a completely different timeline, totally alternate reality, and it doesn't have to take long. It just takes consistency. And most importantly, we're talking about tonight's coherence. So inner alignment with thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and actions. And as soon as I can shift into that and really hold it and embody it, my circumstances start to change. My relationship starts to change. My reality starts to change. And we have to be willing to go with this. We have to be willing to surrender to this if we really want to transform. Oftentimes through our personal development journey, we say we want certain things. And then, when it comes time to change, we resist because we're scared, because we're attached, because we are so comfortable in our pain. We've grown accustomed to feeling a certain way. And it can be difficult to let go of the things that are actually hurting us. We think they're helping us, but they're actually hurting us. And so just be gentle with yourself in this process. As you're listening to me tonight, you're thinking, oh, Sabrina just says I have to, make different choices and create an alternate version of myself, a new embodied identity, and I can have a timeline shift. And it takes a minute to really feel into what you're capable of right now, what is, within your capacity, and to proceed with gentleness and self-care. Never force or push yourself to make choices you're not ready to make. There's no such thing as forcing in nature. I talk about this all the time. Nature happens in its own time. Everything's always in perfect time. Okay. So, always check in with yourself, say, what can I take on today? What can I shift today? What can I let go of today? What feels accessible for me? And move at your own pace, because everybody's personal development journey looks different. There's no one method that works for everybody at the same pace. It's just a matter of noticing your own inner process and honoring yourself where you are. This is so important, okay? Because otherwise, all we're doing is taking our conditioned self and projecting it onto a new trajectory, and that just brings up more of the same feelings that you've always been feeling. And what we were trying to shift here is how you're experiencing yourself. Okay. And so the first point of access is, how can I love myself more deeply? How can I develop more inner peace? What is it that I have to let go of that will allow me to go deeper in love with myself? And this is the ultimate fulfillment, as far as I'm concerned, is to be deeply in love with oneself. And of course, that's my wish for you and for all beings everywhere. I have been talking for quite some time, so we're going to jump into the chat. I'm going to read some questions and comments and say hi to everybody. Thank you for hanging in with me. Here we go. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jenna. Good to see you. Hello, Joshua. Hi, Sybil. Hi, Soul Wandering. This is Sarah. Hi. Hello, Vicky. Good to see you. Rhonda, Miss Rhonda, it's always good to see you. And okay, I can't wait to read all these questions. Perfect. Somebody said perfectly asked, Joshua. So what did Joshua ask? I'm dying to know. Okay, let's put the first question on screen. If you're a member, you get to come first. Otherwise, you'll get your question answered first come, first serve. Sarah says, hi, Sabrina. Thank you as always. Anything on my health and why I am sick again. It seems like I am sick on repeat recently. I'm starting my new job tomorrow, sick. Okay. Oh, I have so much to say about this. Okay. So, for those of you, first of all, those of you asking for readings, I forgot to say this at the beginning, stay and validate. Okay. So, when I start channeling for you, I usually do this with minimal information. If you want to give me more details on the screen, you can. But when I start channeling for you, please validate and let me know, if this is resonating, not resonating. That keeps the flow of the conversation going. And I just really just close my eyes and tune into your energy, and I'll tell you exactly what I feel. Okay. So, okay. So, first of all, I say this with love and gentleness. There's two things. Okay. So I feel like your body's detoxing something. Okay. That's the first word I heard was detox, or the need for detox. So your body is not sick. You're not sick. You're actually cleansing. And this is an important reframe for anybody who's going through a cold or going through some kind of, dis-ease. By the time you have physical symptoms, your body's actually healing itself. Okay. So your body's clearing something that needs to be detoxed, that requires just requires a little gentleness and patience. Part of the reason you're also manifesting sickness, and I say this again with love and respect and gentleness, is because you're resisting the new job. Okay. So if you're really honest with yourself, I feel like you've taken this opportunity because you feel like it's important and you need it, and it's something that's good and it's the responsible thing to do. But there's a part of you that's fighting this. Okay. And when we fight, the body starts to say, okay, we're fighting, let's fight something off. Let's fight off a cold. Let's fight off whatever it is that you're fighting. And it feels like it's not severe, but it's annoying enough to get your attention and to slow you down so that you can pay closer attention to what's happening internally. Okay. So there is a need for detox. That is definitely. So this is maybe part of the reason why your higher self chose to manifest the resistance in this way. Okay. So there's a need for cleansing. And when you're through this process of cleansing, please stick with it. Whatever it is you're detoxing, like drink water, hydrate, drink whatever you're drinking, chicken broth or whatever you're using right now to clear this sickness that you have, which is on its way out, by the way, and see it as a way of communicating with your body. What's my body trying to tell me? Instead of trying to push through it and get better and manage the symptoms, get interested and curious about the symptoms and what the symptoms are trying to communicate to you. Because on a deep soul level, you don't, I say this with love, and you asked me, so I'm always going to tell you the truth. I don't think you want this job. I think you're not fully excited about it. There's a part of you that's resisting it and wondering, this is taking me off my path. There's an annoyance. It feels like this is taking me out of my path. This is a means to an end. Okay. So I don't feel a lot of joy in this, which is part of what you're mourning internally. And that's what I'm picking up for you. Okay. Yeah, I think, I don't want you to do anything drastic other than take care of your body and bring your attention to what your symptoms are actually trying to communicate with you, and stick with the detoxing and be eating clean and living clean and being very kind to your body while you're healing. And then at some point you'll have to do the deeper self-examination around your relationship to abundance and structure and, being responsible. Okay, so that's the message I have for you, sir. Okay, I hope that resonates for you. Please confirm, please validate if you're still here. Otherwise, let us move on. Okay, or you can always come back and watch that portion of the video and leave a comment at the end as well. That's always appreciated. Okay. Hi, Anka. Nice to see you here. Anka says, hi, Sabrina. I'm still developing my direct connection with spirit and not able yet to hear the messages clearly. Please channel for me and let me know what messages spirit has for me. Thanks. Okay, beautiful. I love this framing of the question. And, I want to say too that it's hard. It can be challenging to read for yourself. Okay. I say that with personal experience. It can be challenging because we have to really develop our non-attachment. This is easy when we're channeling for others because I'm not emotionally invested in what it is that you want or think you want or the thing that is bringing you pain. I'm not emotionally invested in your attachments. I'm not there with you. And so when we're listening for guidance, it's really important. This is such a pivotal piece of inner work, is to let go of your attachments to any outcome and to simply be willing to hear what spirit wants to communicate, even if it's something we don't want to hear. Okay. So this is important. When I tune into your energy, Anka, it feels like, mm, I feel like the relationship stuff is still kind of up in the air. It's not hasn't fully settled for you yet. Um, yeah, I mean, I want to say that there's a part of you that's like maybe a little discouraged, but still hopeful. So, and I want, like, spirit is saying, like, communicate, like, it's really just bringing the message forward of stay in love, stay in love, stay in love with yourself, stay in love with life, stay in love with joy and connection and community. Keep cultivating connection and community, and love will show up for you. It will mirror itself back to you in the way that you're loving yourself. Okay. So there is still, it's almost difficult to communicate for me, which is saying a lot. There is almost like a part of you where you have a specific idea of the person that you want, or how you want to feel. There's this very specific idea, and I think that if you let go of that you might find connection and chemistry with someone that is not your type, or not someone you would have expected, or not someone you would have imagined for yourself. And that's actually a really good. Hello, everybody. I'm back. Okay. Sometimes spirit does that. So, okay. So, Anka, if you're still here, please validate. Otherwise, I'm going to move on to the next person. If we have any validating messages, please bring them on. But this is what I want to say for you, Anka, just to wrap up, and you can come back and listen to this. And I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure Mercury has gone direct, so I don't know what's going on tonight. But thank you for hanging in with me, and you know, open, be open minded. Be open minded. Be willing to create connection with someone who seems like he's not what you would typically go for, but it's actually a really good match for you. Okay, and that's what Spirit wants you to know. Just hang in there, and come back and let us know. Okay, good to see you here. Sarah says, "You're so lovely. I don't want it." Okay, good. It's my yay. The truth sets us all free. It's my responsibility to pay for the vet bills for Bear. Oh, this is your dog. Your dog that you had to put down. All tracks completely. Okay, good. I stopped smoking weed too, so detoxing for sure. Just won't be forever. Thanks. Jen, by the way, I had an animal communicator reach out with messages from Bear, and butterflies were a big sign from him. I like your earrings today. Oh, yay. There you go. I love animal communication. I don't remember if I channeled this for you or not, but like, so when I tune into the energy of Bear, I feel like he wants you to not give up on the walks that you used to take. Like, there's a certain route or a certain path. That used to take him on, or maybe a trail or something. He wants you to keep walking that trail even without him, because he's there with you. Okay, so that's my message from Bear. Of course, I'm sending you so much compassion and love and empathy for your loss. And we know from this work and from being in community, coming to the monthly mediumship demonstrations, that our loved ones never die. Love simply just changes form, and they stay with us, especially our animals. They stay with us forever. So and we have lifetime after lifetime with them. So the other thing I want to say too is, yeah, I get that you're doing the responsible thing. And again, I want to say, Sarah, like it's it's not a bad thing to do this, even just for a small period of time, even just to get yourself in the right relationship with your body and the detoxing part. And then as you do that, your energy will free up. The detoxing alone will make new things available to you. Okay. um, I can't emphasize that enough. It's going to open up doors for you, possibilities that you hadn't seen before, because you've let go of this one habit that used to take up all your attention and energy. Okay, so this is so important. Tonight we're talking about choice points and timeline shifts by embodying a new identity. Look at what you're choosing day throughout the day, and that's affecting your circumstances. And that's why you're in this circumstances, because you've made certain choices. So now you can get to make a new one, so you can shift your circumstances. All right. I'm glad that resonated for you. Beautiful. Anka says, yes, it resonates. Thanks so much. Good. Beautiful. I'm so glad to have you here. You cut out, by the way. Now you're back. I love that. And it sounds right on. Okay, good. Yes, I don't know what happened. We just short-circuited the internet. So that happens sometimes during these energy transmissions. Okay, who else is here? Sarah says, thank you so much. I'm still doing breath and sound workshops in Breck and Alma, so not stopping completely, just adulting. Good. Adulting is good. This is good for you, just for a period of time. I think it's sometimes we need structure and discipline. We need that structure and discipline to create new neural pathways, establish new healthy habits, new ways of showing up for ourselves. And once we've embodied that, then we don't need the circumstances that's, holding us to that. Does that make sense? So you kind of you can let go of that training ground once you've embodied those habits for yourself. Okay. And I want you to look at this job as just a training ground. This is a temporary thing, stepping stone, and it's not forever, as you said. Okay. All right, good. Hi, Jenna. Good to see you here. Jenna says, hi, Sabrina. As you know, I'm working on me and feeling I'm a different version of myself. Beautiful. What messages do you have for me in my self-development? Yeah, I mean, it's very clear to me, mentorship. And I think I've channeled this for you before. Like, you can't do this alone. Like, it's just you and yourself trying to figure out how to move through this. Like, I know you've got some resources and some community that you're leaning into, but you need, yeah, it's like it's important to have mentorship or access to teachings that calibrate at a higher level of consciousness so that you can tune into that field. It's like, go to a practice circle, or go to a place where you can develop your sensitivity, your intuition in a structured way, so that you can start to cultivate this gift that you have. Okay, so I know that this is what you're working on, and it's just a matter of practice and openness and willingness. And if you go back and listen to the beginning of this broadcast, in terms of choosing, if you want to embody the identity of someone who can channel spirit, who can communicate clearly with spirit, receive universal intelligence, then it's just a matter of choosing, behaving, thinking, acting, feeling like that version of you, and all will show up for that version of you as you intended it, and as you desire it. So that's what I want to say about that. That's the message that comes through very clearly. And the other thing I want to say too, this is kind of having a vision of you on the sand and ocean, beach. So there is a walk on the beach in your near future. It actually feels like there might be some children with you. But yeah, it looks like, yes, mentorship keeps coming up. That's the direction I'm leaning into. Okay, beautiful. Good. I'm glad we're in sync with each other. Thank you for validating. Beach. There's a beach with seashells and little kids and sand toys and things like that. This is like laughter. It's very pretty what I'm seeing. It's almost like spirit is showing me that you get to play. You get to play with These could be grandkids. You get to be in the presence of this child-like energy, and it's very important for you when you're in this scene, that you are connecting with your own inner child. That's it's such a gift to spend time with children and feel like we are reconnecting with that part of ourselves. We can see the world through their eyes, and it heals something for us, which is another message that Spirit has for you. Okay. Your definition of timelines is the best I've heard. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's so important that we understand that we're not, there's no separate versions of ourselves living. It's just a matter of choosing. And the beach scene is beautiful. Come back and let us know how that unfolds for you. It feels like if time with family. Okay. And the opportunity to heal something within you in terms of your own inner child. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for being here. Hi, Joshua. Joshua says, hi, Sabrina. I feel stuck on the wrong timeline professionally, financially, and in terms of relationships. How can I get on the timeline that I have visualized and prayed for, but that still eludes me? I mean, I already gave you all these answers, but I'll say them again, Joshua. And I know you put your question before I started teaching tonight. So, okay, so I want you to pick one area because there's so much, right? So when I read that you're out of alignment professionally, financially, relationships, like there is a lack of receiving. You're blocked when it comes to actually receiving the thing that you really want. And that really touches on your own self-worth. And this is where we can distill the work, right? We don't have to look at it and compartmentalize it. I don't believe in compartmentalization. As an oracle, to me, we are all source consciousness, and everything is available to us within source consciousness. And one shift, profound shift in self-love and self-acceptance will shift everything on a circumstantial level. Okay. So when we deal with things at the source, we shift our entire circumstances. We don't need to spend years working on your job, your finances, and then we'll move on to your relationships. It doesn't work like that. Okay. So these all point to, for me, one common theme, which is your pain around receiving. Like, I'm not worthy of having the things that I want. You're praying for them, you want them, but deep down inside, you don't believe you can have them. That's all that's going on here. There's a lot of pain around feeling like you don't have what it takes, or that you can't handle the responsibility, or it's just like not for you. It's not meant for you. It might be nice for other people, but it's just not meant for you. And this goes into your childhood conditioning. Look at your relationship with your dad, and integrity, responsibility, structure. The world of form is the masculine. Look at that relationship and start to examine your thoughts, your beliefs, your language, your habits, what you're consuming, what you're doing, what you're engaging in, who you're interacting with. All these things will point to the reality that you're living. Tell me how you spend the bulk of your time, and I'll tell you what you're actually committed to. It's just this the way it is. We don't realize it, but the way we spend our time is really what we're mostly committed to. So this is a real call to attention before action always, but a real call to attention, saying, okay, how do I spend what am I always ruminating on? What am I always thinking about? What do I spend my time doing or participating in? That's what you're actually committed to. Not the things you say you want. So this is a way of coming into integrity with yourself. And I want to take the pressure off everybody, because if you just do the 3D things that you need to do to embody the identity, the version of yourself, the fulfilled version of yourself, the rest you can surrender, because spirit will meet you there every time. It is infallible. It is the most reliable co-creative force in the universe. It will meet you there, and it will say, okay, I'm here. Obviously it doesn't speak. I'm personifying it just to create an example, to illustrate an example. But it will meet you there. I'll say, okay, we're doing this because you said so. right? Whatever you believe, you're going to be right. So change your beliefs, change your thoughts, change your language and your actions, and you'll create a new set of circumstances. This is an inside job. It really is. If you feel like you're on the wrong timeline, it's because you've made the look at the choices you've made to say yes to something that you don't really want to say yes to. We do it. We do it all the time. We negotiate with ourselves, we betray ourselves, we justify our choices because we think we have to fulfill some external obligation, and we abandon ourselves, and then we wonder why we end up in situations we don't want to be in. Okay, so this is your opportunity to be 100% responsible for the quality of your life. And as soon as you do that, Spirit will meet you there. Just like with Sarah, she quit smoking weed, and now Spirit's going to meet her there. You gave up this thing, you stepped into integrity with your relationship, with your body. You're going to step into integrity with relationship with what you say you want. And now the doors will open up, some new possibility will open up for you. Okay. This is literally how it works. And it's in real time. It's magical. Okay. So this is the advice I have for you tonight, Jonathan. Okay. Soul Wandering says, Sarah, this is Sarah, says, thank you, everyone, for your questions and messages are so universal. I appreciate the community and vulnerability and openness. Me too. I love this space so much, you guys. And I love the depths that we're able to bring. I love being able to see all of you and to really channel for every single one of you very intimately what I feel might be going through. Thank you for trusting me with this process. This is a privilege for me to be able to offer this guidance. And, as always, the messages are for all of us. So thank you for sharing so openly. I echo Sarah's sentiments. Okay. Claude says, hello, everyone. What messages does Spirit have for me today? What things do I have to shift in my life in order to be able to have a better relationship with Spirit? Thank you. Okay. Okay. So it's an interesting frame of the question because I feel like it really is just a matter of believing it's possible for you. Like having a better relationship with Spirit takes commitment. It takes consistency. It takes your willingness to listen without bias, without judgment, without attachment to outcome. And it takes this is something I feel that shows up for you socially too. And again, I say this with love and respect. Like there is a sort of a way that I feel like, what's the expression I'm looking for? You're a little guarded, and you're guarded socially and you're guarded in your relationships. And the best way for you specifically, this is what's coming through for you specifically. And of course it applies to anyone else who's listening. If you let your guard down a little bit and allow yourself to open up and allow yourself to receive, allow yourself to become intimate. This is the work for you, is intimacy. And actually, this affects your relationships, your personal relationships. The more you open up, develop your intimacy, your willingness to be vulnerable in your personal relationships, the easier it is to access that vulnerability and intimacy when it comes to your relationship with Spirit. This is like 360 degrees. We can't just do work on one area, one relationship, and be blocked in others, right? So this is the message for you, is developing your willingness to be open, vulnerable, and developing intimacy with Spirit, and just allowing yourself to receive it without any preconceived notions of what a relationship with Spirit is supposed to look like. It's not always these major downloads and these huge revelations and the earth shaking and the skies parting. I mean, it's not like that for me, but I do feel the presence of Spirit. I feel synchronicities. I feel symbols. Sometimes it's like, things happen just before or just after I feel that they're going to happen. I have premonitions and so on. That's because I'm sinking in with Spirit, and sinking in with Spirit means that I'm not guarded, right? I'm willing to receive. I'm willing to experience the presence of Spirit. And so this is, again, structure around your spiritual practice, a daily reprieve, so a daily ritual, whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be a big long thing. It can be 5 to 10 minutes of deep diaphragmatic breathing and inviting Spirit closer and asking for evidence anything meaningful, anything that will stand out for you. You can build your own personal relationship with spirit the same way you build a relationship with a friend. Okay. And again, there's that word for you. Okay. So, friend, intimacy, intimate relationships and connections are a mirror for your relationship with spirit. So, I want you to look at that. Like, well, how do I show up in my relationships? This is what what's in the way of my relationship with spirit. And when you clear it in one area, you'll clear it in both areas. Okay. That's my message for you tonight, Claude. And please feel free to validate if you're still here. Or you can come back later and let us know that resonated for you. Joshua says, thank you. Yay. You're welcome. You're so welcome. Okay, Lariel, back to you. Jolie, welcome tonight, Jolie. Good to see you here. Jolie says, hi, Sabrina and everyone. Oh. I felt lost before I made the decision to go back to school. I kept waiting for something to happen. Happy I made the decision. Amazing. Thank you for coming back and reporting this to our community. I love hearing that. I love hearing that you followed the guidance and now you feel connected to something bigger than you. Purpose, like don't you feel like your purpose is like you're developing it, you're cultivating it, you're leaning into the thing that you're supposed to be doing, that you're meant to be doing with your time and energy and your attention. It feels good. This is so true for all of us, like for so many years I was guiding and leading personal development work, coaching containers, one-on-one group programs and so on, but I wasn't really showing up live. Like I wasn't sharing wisdom in community, which is what I love to do. I love to be in community. I love to interact with people. I love to offer spiritual guidance. I love to tie the messages together. I wasn't fully showing up in this way and sharing myself in this way. And it was through leaning in and trusting the guidance and trusting the call to show up more that I started to really feel more in alignment with my purpose, right? And so this is what's available to every single one of us as we learn to follow those soul nudges, without without any expectation, without attachment to any outcome. Because if you're attached to an outcome, that's not a soul nudge. That's your ego saying, we need this, or else, right? It's not going to feel good. So yeah, a soul nudge is simply, oh, an inspiration. This is something I feel I should be doing for now, without any expectation, and leaning into doing it simply for the joy of it. This is so rewarding. She says, yes, I really do. I had something different in my mind, but this came through so clearly and it's in alignment. I'm so happy to hear that. The thing that we think we want, when you think you want it, that's usually your mind creating a scenario for you. Okay. So feel into how you want to feel. The embodied version of your fulfilled self is I love myself. I accept myself. I trust myself. I'm willing to honor myself, to care for myself, to listen to myself, to not betray myself, to not abandon myself. And when you do all those things, you can end up on a completely different trajectory and it finally feels like home. And I'm so glad you're sharing this, because I hope Josh was listening because it's the perfect message for you. Jolie was on one path, one trajectory. I want this for my life. And, she followed some guidance and now she's on a path that actually feels more in alignment. So be willing to let go of the thing that you think is supposed to work in your life and start opening up to what your higher self wants you to feel and to experience and to embody in this lifetime. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Jolie. I'm so happy for you. Excellent. Okay, good. This is Agatha. Good to see you here. Welcome to Oracle Hour. I would love to have you in community. Sorry, I keep kicking these cords. Agatha says, I feel like the last 4 months have just been one thing after another, and I honestly don't even know how to process it all. Our dog died. I'm so sorry. That is so painful. Needing to move out of Mexico, and now me losing job. Gosh, that's a lot to go through. Agatha says, I'm glad it's ending, but it's awful and emotional. Gaslighting. Where is this all going? Okay. So first of all, I have so much empathy for your loss. Losing a pet is unbelievably tragic. We have Sarah here tonight who just had to put her dog down as well. So, when things start to fall apart, it can feel very painful. and it can be very triggering, and we can experience a tremendous amount of grief. And the grief that you're feeling right now is not just the grief of the current circumstances. Like when something comes along and triggers you, it's not just the moment that you're feeling all of these feelings. It's triggering a wound that's been there your whole life. Okay, so follow along. And this is for everybody. We're never reacting to the circumstances. We are always reacting, or the circumstances are triggering a wound that's been there forever, for as long as we can possibly remember. Okay. And so there's so much unresolved grief from other parts of your life, and there's so much unresolved um, uh, I want to say a lack of validation. When you talked about emotional gaslighting, this is kind of in alignment with that, that you're experiencing. I think that when things are falling apart, they're really falling into place. Okay. And I'm not trying to be cliche. It's a perspective that I'd like you to embrace, because letting go of certain things is actually serving what your higher self wants for you, which is out of this job, out of this way of operating, out of this way of doing things. It feels like the energy's been very stagnant, very stale in your life for some time, even professionally, and you've been calling in a change, right? You've been calling in something that is more connective, has more depth, has more meaning for you. You connect with emotionally, and you experience emotional safety in what it is that you're doing. So that's what's happening. Where is this all going? Is that it's all meant to serve your highest and best good. This is the best way I can answer that, and we have to trust that. What's missing in your process is the awareness of that, which is why you're here talking to the Oracle and allowing me to connect you with this message. Like, it's not rejection, it's redirection. It's not that things are falling apart, it's that they're falling into place. It's not that, bad things are happening. It's just that you're being invited to process some deeper unresolved emotions through the circumstances of your life, so that you can heal and that you can really embody that the version of yourself that you want to be living. Right? I want you to bring some more intentional thought to how you want to live your life and how you want to feel about your life every day, and then make choices that align with that. Okay. That's what the opportunity here is to kind of like, it's kind of like back to the drawing board. And here I'm going to reinvent myself. Okay. Agatha says, I know we need to let go and restart as our 7-year cycle for closing is happening. But I keep hitting these women in power who can't seem to stand up for myself, being manipulated to sign an NDA. Look, I don't know the details of whatever it is you're going through, but I would not agree to anything that doesn't feel like it's in alignment with you. Okay. Do not betray yourself. This is like a tower moment in your timeline. So and it's because the way you've been operating is just not sustainable anymore. This is the gift. We have to trust that we live in a benevolent universe. The universe is always conspiring in our favor. It wants us to have our needs met. It wants us to align with our higher self. It wants us to fulfill our potential. Of course, I'm personifying it to illustrate a point, but it's working with you in the energy of love, right? And so where have you abandoned self-love and self-care to end up in these circumstances? As soon as you start restoring that internally, the circumstances will dissolve because you don't need them anymore. This is true for all of us. The circumstances trigger us because we need them to trigger us. Otherwise, how would we know that we're holding on to resentment, or we're holding on to fear, or we're holding on to pain from unresolved emotions? Right? So we thank our circumstances. We thank the people that trigger us for being our teachers, for being our guides, and for helping to bring attention to the one area that we're still holding pain. Okay. So you're not a victim, Agatha. And I say this with love and respect. Like, that needs to go. That whole mentality of why this is happening to me needs to go. And you need to start looking at this as how is this happening for me? This is interesting. It's interesting that these circumstances are shifting and it's happening for my highest and best good. What's the lesson here for me? Okay. Don't sign anything that doesn't resonate with you. And don't be afraid to walk away. The message from spirit is to cut your losses and move on and spend time tending to your heart and resolving the areas where there's grief. When we lose a dog, especially, and this is for Sarah as well, um, we're grieving because the dog represents unconditional love and companionship and consistent presence and consistent joy and innocence, the innocence that we lose connection to within ourselves, and I feel so strongly about this. I am a dog lover myself. I have two dogs. And when we lose a dog, it's like we lose access to that unconditional love, and it's an invitation to grieve the part of you that hasn't been unconditionally loving yourself. Okay. And that's what the dog represents. What messages does my lovely senior dog Kropka have for us? Let me see if I can channel this little dog. It's interesting because I saw Walks on the Beach with Jenna tonight, and I see Walks on the Beach. She really liked walking on the sand or walks on the beach or something like that. Like, this was a very happy memory for her. She wants you to know that it was the right choice at the right time, and that she had a wonderful life with you. She loved your adventures, and she loved. I feel like there's a child. I'm seeing a child, so I feel like she's around the child quite a bit, and she's with you as a guide, so you can actually lean into her and talk to her and communicate with her. Yeah, I'm seeing this little yellow bandana too. It's very cute. And she's just like, yeah, I mean, I feel like she's a soul dog, and she's, around as a guide, sort of in for the adventure, and with you in the choices that you're making and moving on. She wants you to be free. This is what this dog represents in your life, is the connection to freedom, the connection to personal freedom. It's almost like she was there to make sure that you created a life of freedom, and she's still around for that. Okay. So, and I just got chills when I said that. So she wants you, this beautiful little dog wants you to be free and to stay committed to your personal freedom, to stay committed to being off the system, off the grid, in your adventures, on the beach, living life by your own design. This is what she wants for you. Okay. And that's my message from the dog. Okay. I hope this resonates for you. Thank you for letting me channel this beautiful dog. I love animal communication. Okay. Who's next? Okay, from IG, we have Appalachia. Appalachia, I'm about to start into a different field of work. I've been in the same field, but from a different area. Do you see anything related to this for me? Okay, so come and join us on YouTube so you can validate. Different field of work. I'm in the same field. I've been in the same field, but from a different area. Okay, I'll tell you exactly what I feel, and then you can sort of fill in the blanks. I feel like whatever it is you're doing requires more depth of knowledge and more study. So it's something you're either going back to school for, or you need to learn more about, or invest in more knowledge, or more refinement of your abilities and skills, all of the above, to do this work. And I actually feel like once you embody all of this new information, that this is actually a better fit for you. Okay. But it's not a given. You've got to work for this. Like, there's some preparation involved, and there's some patience involved. Okay. So, and this is spirits communicating this very clearly. Like, you be patient and don't abandon things right away because it's not working out the way you hoped. Okay. This is a sort of you've shifted this trajectory. You've made this timeline shift by making this choice, and stick with it. Stick with it, and don't be afraid of the work and the knowledge and the study that's involved, because It's good for you. I actually don't feel like this particular role is a long-term thing, but I do feel like it's a beautiful stepping stone to acquiring this knowledge and developing yourself. I see all of life circumstances from that perspective. It's like we're in this thing for a time that allows us to develop ourselves in a particular way, allows us to bring forward our gifts, our purpose, our passion, and then we transcend that. We morph into some other version of ourselves, because we're here to be self-realized. We're here to be fulfilled, right? You're not here to just end up somewhere and do that in 3D. The goal is not 3D satisfaction. The goal is self-realization, which is ultimate satisfaction. It's liberation of the 3D self, in and dissolving into the awareness of ourselves as expressions of source consciousness. Okay, so this is what's in store for you. Okay, so if you're still here, please validate. If not, come back and listen to this portion of the video and leave a comment if you like. Well, you're welcome to join us in community every Sunday on YouTube. This is the message for you. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining me live. I see Rhonda's always cueing me because she always says goodbye right on the hour. So thank you, Rhonda. Rhonda says, thank you for graciously sharing your gifts, and to well protect your energy. My love to you, Miss Rhonda. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay. Appalachia says, you're right on track. Have been taking courses. There's more ahead. It's been my happiest line of work. Beautiful. I love it. So keep doing the courses and the study and the depth of this is developing you. And it's going to open so many doors, like new things that you didn't think were possible will start opening up for you. New avenues, new connections, like you're really up leveling. Okay. So this is a beautiful pathway into that. And again, this is not a lifetime situation, but it is a current important, significant period of your evolutionary process that you will integrate and embody, and then eventually move on to something else. Okay, but go all in on this because it's really good for you. All right. Sybil says, I love your readings. Oh, thank you. I love offering them. Thank you for being here tonight, everybody. Appalachia says, thank you so much. Spot on. Beautiful. Tell all your friends. Every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific, we are here live, channeling spirit on your behalf. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. If you want to jump into a one-on-one reading with me, Lyriel's going to put the link up here for you. If you want to go deeper into an oracle transmission and really feel all of the unseen energy in your life and what you can take advantage of, communicating with spirit guides and loved ones, please book your reading there. Also, we have our Oracle Gathering, which is coming up on March 28th. It's next Saturday for 2 hours. I do a mediumship demonstration. We meet in a Zoom environment, so we channel loved ones and you get messages and we can interact on screen. You can ask questions, and there's a whole integration post-event integration process that we do as well. There's the link to join the gathering. It's this coming Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. What's I gonna say? One more comment here for the little dog Kropka. I said it's okay for her to go last night. I held her if she needed to guide a new baby soul to us. Well, I held her if she needed to guide. Oh, beautiful. I love this. I love this. Well, come back and let us know how that unfolds for you. I love hearing that. Please go back and listen to the message that I channeled on her behalf for you. Okay. Beautiful, everybody. I wish you all a lovely rest of your Sunday. You have all the links to join us, to join our community, as mentioned before. And if not, I will see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. All my love.